Adding media elements and special formatting to a site takes time and thoughtfulness. One thing to always remember is to ask yourself if the element you want to add will enhance the site or provide meaning, and if the answer is no, then it is probably best not to add it. Just adding colorful images and text to a site for the sake of drawing attention to your site will often draw the wrong kind of attention and not leave the impression you were hoping for. Some of the visual elements that can be added to a site to enhance its presentation and delivery would be margins, padding, borders, graphics, and color. Here I have a page with text and some graphics. There is very little formatting added to help the readability of the site. Notice how small the font sizes are and how close the text is to the images. Here is the same page with styles added. There is a background color for several elements, a background image added to the header, rounded corners added to the H1 element, and margins and padding added to make the text easier to read, along with font styling and sizing. There is also a box shadow added to the main section to make it stand apart from the wrapper. Adding just a few small elements makes a big difference. Be careful adding images to a page. The placement and size of the images can have an impact on the flow of the site's information and on the time the page takes to load in the browser. On this version of the site, an image has been added to the background of the main section. The color of the text had to be lightened to make it easier to read. On this version, the image has been reduced and the font is a darker color. Either way works, but it is important to remember readability. This is an example of the entire background covered in an image. Remember that what may be easy for you to read may not be as easy to read for others. Always test your site on multiple machines and multiple browsers and get other people to review it and provide feedback before rolling it out into production. Using images on a website is necessary to break up the text and to fill white space effectively, and sometimes to add meaning to the site's purpose. It is best if you can create your own images, but if that is not an option, it is important to remember that images are sometimes copyrighted. Copyright laws protect online images the same way as text in a literature book or music online. Just because an image is on the internet does not mean it is free for anyone to use. There are sites online that provide images for free, so be sure and check their availability before using them for your own site. Images come in different forms, but the most common types for use on the web are GIF, JPEG, and PNG. Two of the more important things to consider when selecting and adding images is quality and size. You want the best quality to get the point across, but do not use the highest quality unless necessary. The higher the quality, the larger the image file. Also, when adding an image, consider what size you will need. This site needs a little something extra. I have taken a photograph and would like to add it to the site. If I add the image without modifying it at all, it will be way too large. There are width and height attributes that can be added to the image to modify the size, but it is best to modify the size of the image first. Modifying the size can simply be done by opening the image in Windows Paint and using the resize function to make it smaller. You may want to create different sizes for some images so they can be used on the web page in different ways, such as standard images, thumbnails, or background images. You can then use the width and height attributes for more specific settings. Notice the difference in the sizes of the image originally and after the modification. If the original image is not reduced, then every time the web page is viewed, It will have to squeeze the image down into the size set by the width and height, which can make load time very slow, as you can see on this example. Plus, the image will occupy a lot of unnecessary server space. That covers some of the basics of things to consider when adding visual elements to your web page. The CSS box model is a helpful tool for understanding how each of the styling elements affect the items on your page. For more information, take the time to go through the CSS examples on the W3 Schools site. There are demonstrations showing how the style will affect the element and the attributes that can be added. Look at other sites as well and find some that look good and flow well and try to mimic the layout and the style. Take the time to think about the overall plan for your site and who you want to reach, and you can more easily design your site effectively.